one game away from the crowd. We have 14 out of 16 players ready for the season finals in Poland. Tonight, we will find the last two players. Who are they going to be? That's what we're here to find out. Joining me on the desk for one final time is, of course, Sam, also known as Bling, and Johan, also known as Todd. It's been a fantastic couple of days, and we're about to wrap it up, hopefully with a cherry on top, Sam.
Hopefully with a cherry on top, and I think, in fact, we will have that because the Wunderwunsch, the man himself, TLO, is playing today, and I think everyone, including myself, is very excited about that.
He was the name that you picked out a long time ago, as soon as we started. Are you on the TLO literal hype train on the way to Cologne?
I would be if you guys weren't.
Oh, okay, here we go, Johan, as always.
No, it's definitely nice to see, I guess, a local here with a German player playing well from season to season, because we've seen, I mean, it's no new sight here. Seeing him here playing well and the crowd's really chanting his name, it's kind of starting to become, I guess, one of the things that we have happen every season, so we'll see if that continues.
Hopefully it shall do. Let's take a quick look at the tournament structure for some of you who are just kind of tuning in for the very first time. It's a nice and simple format. We have 32 players spread across 8 groups. 4 groups were completed in our ESL studios in Burbank, California, and 4 groups traveled here to Cologne, Germany. And we've already done E, F, and G. Tonight is H. And of course, the players that are the best, the top 16, will move through to play at the season finals. Again, 4 groups, double elimination, best of 3s until we get the 8 very best players who will fight for the chance to be a champion of the Premier League. Which one will it be? We'll have to find out. But of course, not only is a trophy on the line, there's a lot of points. We mentioned it over the last couple of days. I have to tell you again because there is a lot of money up for grabs. $217,000 each season. Cha-ching! $217,000 per season. We have 3 seasons a year. And of course, the whopping $250,000 will be played at the global finals as well. But it's not just about the money and the bling and the style. It's also about the backbone of the World Championship Series. It's the point system, where we have 4 players coming in today. One of them has an actual shot to play at the global finals, and that is TLO. And what he needs to do is to win the season. Will he do that? We'll find out. And of course, Shigua, Violet, and Mana are the other 3 players. Hero, the #1 in the world right now, and rightfully so, I think a lot of people would say.
He's performed really well in every tournament. He's played in still. It's SSL, I think, in the semifinals against Reign, so to be continued. Maybe he's going to score even more points, double the second players' points.
He's got so many points, man, especially if you compare it to a lot of the Europeans. There's so many. Let's take a look at the round of 32 groups. As mentioned already, we've completed 7 out of 8, which leaves us with just the lonely Group H ready to rock and roll, and that's where TLO, Violet, Shigua, and Mana come into play. But overall, the 14 players that we've got going to the season finals, Sam, are absolutely splendid. It's a lovely bunch.
Yeah, they are, and we've got all the favourites, but we've had a few upsets, and probably the biggest upset so far, the man who plays with a wireless keyboard, not even a mouse mat, Hitman, yesterday actually qualifying. He does exist, and he did qualify, and yeah, it's exciting to see new players come through and old ones.
Yeah, tonight's going to be an important night for every single player that plays in Group H. We could have 1 Polish player play at the Polish event. We could have a 2nd German, equaling France as the 2nd highest nation being represented. And of course, 2 Asian players looking to make their mark again on the WCS. This is Group H. 2 Team Liquid players join into today's group to fight against Violet and Shiga. We have 3 Zergs and a lonely Protoss going up against each other tonight, and a nice group to wrap up the round of 32.
Yeah, definitely. It's very diversified as well, even though there's two Team Liquid players. I like the mix of, having a Chinese players and Violet in there as well. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to only one thing. 3 Zergs and 1 Protoss enter a bar, Apollo.
But who walks out sober? None of them. Who's walking out walking straight, though? We'll have to find out later.
Who walks out the winner, okay?
Okay,
that was my question.
I couldn't quite get to where you wanted to go. This group's a close one.
It is, and in my opinion, it's probably the closest out of the 4 that we've had this weekend. And like we said, a Team Liquid kill is going to happen. That's one thing to note as well, because Team Liquid players are very close. They practice a lot together. But the fact that they're in a group together and Man is solely going to have to prepare for his Zerg matchup, did TLO help him practice or did he not?
Well, they spent time with each other living in the same house just a couple of weeks back to prepare for the WCS Challenger, in fact. But here we do have the matchups. Match 1 and match 2. We have Shigua going up against Mana a little bit later on, but our first match of the evening, Dr. Dario looking keen and mean in that picture. Likewise is Violet, who is going to be taking him on. A wonderful starting matchup here between these two players. And what are we thinking about when we look at this starting match here, Sam?
I think that Dario's probably very happy with this starting matchup. He's said in the past how confident he is in ZvZ, and the fact that he's in a group with 3 Zergs and his opening match is against an Zerg opponent, he's got to be feeling good.
Tilo's been killing it recently, Todd. I mean, he comes into Season 3 here today with 2 top 8s to his name. A fantastic result and a fantastic year so far in the WCS.
Yeah, I think he's really been on form this season, and the fact that not only he's very good against Zerg in general, I feel like there is only one Zerg he might be a little bit afraid of if he had to meet him in this tournament, and that's probably Hydra. So now, having to play against Shigua, having to play against Violet, I'm pretty sure TLO's going into it really confident, probably even if he had to play Mana as well. And I'm pretty sure that makes him a clear favorite, quite possibly here to advance in first place.
A cheeky wink to the camera and a rub of that magic beard of his. Hopefully it gives him a couple of powers to be able to take down his opponent tonight, because his opponent is a devilish player. Violet's been around for a long time, but as devilish as he has been in the past, especially around 2012 and 2013, Violet has struggled recently. He's bombed out in both seasons so far in the round of 32. He's here today in high spirits. And how well is he going to do? How well is he going to perform?
It's a tricky one, because a lot of people have been saying to me that he's kind of not been practicing as much as what would be ideal for this group. Obviously, he's not going to not practice at all, but apparently he's kind of been taking that Stardust-esque approach and being a bit chilled about it.
Well, Stardust, who lost in Challenger, retired from the game. I don't want to go too close to what Stardust has been up to.
I feel like Violet, there is a good chance he might try and prove that he's really coming back here on top form. Actually, at the end of last season, the finals, they were in Toronto, and there was another tournament taking place there, the Battlegrounds Archon mode tournament, and he was there playing with Massa, and they ended up winning the whole thing. And going into the tournament, I remember talking with him, and you could really tell, from the look that he had, that he really wanted to be playing in WCS as well. But last season, it wasn't the case. Now, finally he gets his chance, and I think he realizes how important here this tournament is for him, and he's going to be playing his very best. Usually, players that missed an opportunity like this, they come back the next time around with a lot of motivation with their game.
Yeah, and this is the biggest last thing really of the 2015 circuit. Let's take a look at the map order for these first 3 maps. Hopefully, if we do get to game number 3 between these two players, it's going to be a Zerg versus Zerg, so there's obviously not too much to talk about. But when you look at these, Sam, what do you see?
I see that the randomness is not going to be there, like we keep saying over the weekend. It seems like most Zerg players these days do want to eliminate those 4-player maps, and rightly so. I feel like TLO probably wants to play a straight-up game and prove why he's so confident in this matchup. And Violet, I'm sure he wants to go toe-to-toe with him as well.
And that leads us into our first map here, Jon, which is going to be Terraform. Is there anything specific, viewers at home, myself, this newbie host, no longer a good commentator guy who retired from doing that, actually needs to look out for?
Wow, that was great, Apollo. I think...
What should I be looking out for, mate?
We've seen players try some small moves here and there, but I feel like between these two, there's probably a good chance they're just going to want to try and play it fairly standard and go into the later, or at least mid-game, where you go into roaches and then you try to make a difference from there. I don't picture these two guys as like Zergling, Baneling, or even mass building all in. Like, we have to wait for Shigua to come into play for this later on.
I have seen Violet in the past do a few early pool builds, and it might be a little bit predictable for him on some maps. I think if he is going to do it, it's probably going to be right at the start of the series, but I think TLO is going to be kind of playing out the series in a bit more conservative approach, I guess, and we'll just see how it goes from there after that first game. So I don't see him taking too many risks, first of all, but Violet, I definitely could see that happening.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to head for the commentary team for this one to see who's going to open up the night with a win. It's Claris and Pig.
One of the longest standing veterans here in WCS in TLO goes up against one of the oldest players that we actually have here in WCS in Shigwa, who, let's be honest, is no stranger here to the Premier League himself.
Oh, Violet actually is...
Oh, sorry, right. Violet. I keep doing that.
It's cool. Of course, Violet's been around a long time as well, and he was one of the biggest champions in 2012, winning multiple events, coming through. I think he had something like 9 or 10 top 8 finishes, like so many second places, first places. He has won so many championships back in the day, but he has had a slower start to this year, and he's got kind of that weight on his shoulders.
So let's get into game number 1 here. It will be Terraform between TLO and Violet, of course, as we've had a few days worth of StarCraft here, and this is the final one here for the round of 32. As we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner, it will be our Blue Zerg representing Team Liquid. It is TLO.
The German fan favorite, always coming here looking so focused. He has been doing so well this year. Already 2 top 8 finishes. He wants to go far this season.
And down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have our Red Zerg representing Team NV. It is Violet.
Not the greatest start to the year, but always a contender, always a player who plays the game by his own understanding. It's one of the things that always impressed me about Violet. You know, sometimes people get this image of these Korean players and they're only so good because they're playing in their team houses, you know, with their coaches. But Violet's a guy who never really excelled in that environment. He's always been a kind of lone wolf player. Loves practicing on his own, just on ladder and with his practice partners and figuring out the game his own way.
Yeah, and he certainly did for a very, very long time, back when he was over, I think, is he still in America? I can't quite recall.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, okay, so, but you're right, not exactly the best start to 2015, hasn't had it prolonged throughout this year. Of course, people expect Violet to, after his previous years of StarCraft, expect him to hit the highest of highs and trying to get himself further on, but going up against TLO is going to be difficult, who is a Zerg cannibal at the moment.
Oh yeah, TLO Zerg vs Zerg has been on point. Interestingly enough, we did hear Bling on the desk there talking about, hey, this is Terraform. This is the map where if there's going to be some earlier pool aggression, it's going to come out here. But neither player opting for that, both going for a hatchery first. So both players, even though they know there's that threat, they're saying, I'm comfortable going for the economic play. I don't think I need to worry about anything. Of course, TLO does drop quite a fast spawning pool, just being a little bit safer than Violet, while Violet's delaying his a little bit longer, getting a slight bit more economy.
All right, so pulls down. We have the gas on the way, as you were mentioning here, for TLO. So he's going to be able to have his speed out a little bit earlier than Violet if he wants to. Some of the Liquid Zergs have actually been skipping speed entirely, even after getting the gas first, which has been a little bit crazy, to say the least. But
yeah, it's kind of this meta move at the moment in Zerg vs Zerg, isn't it? Where even a lot of players who traditionally were really aggressive, often, even if they get the gas, they're just like, yeah, I showed you the gas, cancel Ling speed, drop a Roach Horn in the chamber at the front. A lot of players, and Violet and TLO are both players that have been playing well into that meta. These players who love to get to that Roach stage. So I am anticipating that, especially as we see their Violet hasn't dropped down any gas yet. Looks like he just wants to play straight up gasless. And of course, TLO is going to be coming in with his Overlord, and he's going to verify that in the next couple of seconds.
Yeah, gasless can be a tricky tightrope to walk sometimes in Zerg vs Zerg. Got to make sure that your defense at the front, your natural, is on lockdown, be it building walls later on with buildings and making sure that your queens are in the right place.
Absolutely, and TLO, you know, he does have the Ling speed already starting, so he's got a lot more freedom here in terms of he has flexibility in his play. He's the one who can choose to be aggressive with that Zergling speed, but he's invested a little bit of economy into it, so he has to make use of the threat of that Zergling speed, whether to get up a faster expansion or to attack into Violet. Meanwhile, Violet's coming across with these 4 Lings. He wants to get inside the main, and he wants to see what TLO is doing behind this.
Yeah, it's quite a commitment actually, sending 4 Lings towards that. It's actually going to go straight to the drone line. and see if he can get something done there. At least one drone should die.
Oh, that's actually a really nice pickup. Violet starting out with a very fast aggression here, and that makes it quite worthwhile. Picking up the drone, wasting a bit of mining time, and he's going to come through the main and see, hey, there's no Baneling nest down. There's nothing like that. Oh, does even get another second drone kill. That's a really nice tempo move.
Baneling nest being thrown down at the back of in the middle of all of this, though. This is a very, very uncommon place to put it. He's put it away from where those Zerglings were initially in the main base, and he's unlikely to actually come back through there with an initial Ling Scout because he was so keen on actually shutting those down in the main. So this could really catch Violet off, surely.
Yeah, this is a really decisive move from TLO, saying, you know what, after seeing what you've seen, you're not worried about any attack. And we can see it here from Violet. He's just got a couple of queens, like, 4 queens, no spine, no wall up yet, and TLO is going into mass Zergling play behind this. Violet building a small semi-wall here, but that isn't walling off the whole base. And if TLO makes a lot of Banelings, he can crash into this drone line.
Yeah, 14 Zerglings are in production. It's going to be up to that Spine Crawler to try and finish, as well as the focus fire here of the Queens to shut down this kind of play. As TLO is kind of thrown in for a loop. He sees more Lings actually floating across the field here, but he has Banelings. He has no answer for them at the moment.
Oh, the Baneling focus fire is good from Violet, but the Spine goes down nonetheless. More Banelings are morphing, more Lings are flooding in, and there's just no end to this flood.
The Lings got caught in front of the Queens and couldn't micro away. The Queens made a wall against Violet's Lings and allowed the Banelings to crash on through against it. This could be a severe end here, although he has an extra wall of Queens once again here, 2 of them, buying time for these extra Zerglings to pop for Violet.
But there's just no roaches, there's no Banelings for Violet, no Zergling speed. How can he ever beat Zergling Baneling that's flooding across with Zergling speed? TLO's even brought a queen.
What? How did that get here?
She wants to party, and she's not going to be left behind joining the fight. A queen killing Violet's drones. This is just such a TLO move. Always wants to finish it in style.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's certainly one way. There's the Baneling morphing in there. He transfuses it. GG. TLO takes game number 1 in a way that I really didn't expect. That was just to be able to even throw down the Baneling nest in the middle of that mineral line where he just knew it wasn't going to be scouted there during that window. Very clever stuff.
That's such a decisive move, and that's what Zerg vs. Zerg is often about. Making these decisive moves in the heat of the moment. Can you choose to do that? And you know what? Violet was making his own decisive move. He said, I read it as you're not going to be aggressive at all. And TLO instantly changing it up after, kind of reacting to Violet getting the scouting information. Beautiful capitalization and shut him down very quickly.
A very good start there for TLO. And considering the position that he has been in the past 2 seasons, being able to get all the way to the final, the finals of these events, and then just being able to take a top 8 position each time, that's really good for TLO. Obviously, he's always looking for more. And coming into season 3, do you think he's extremely hungry for higher than that top 8 that he keeps hitting?
I think he is, and we haven't talked about it too much, but he does have a good amount of WCS points under his belt, 1,500, puts him in at rank 33. And whilst that seems like it's a long way away, if he can make some magic happen, if he could win this season, then he would actually be a shoo-in for BlizzCon, and that's always somewhere in the back of his mind. And going into Dash and Terminal, it's a very interesting map, but it's a map where both players can scout very early. I'm sure both of them do have a plan.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. As we're getting loaded up here for Dash and Terminal, TLO 1 game away from basically the winners match here already after that quick victory there in game number 1. As we said before, he's very, very confident usually in his Zerg versus Zerg. So Violet's going to have to watch out for this guy up to the top left. It is our blue Zerg representing Team Liquid. It is TLO.
He looks just so focused today. And I love when I see TLO coming with that competitive mindset. You can see it in his eye. He's hungry right now.
Yeah, he is looking strong in 2015. And then down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have our red Zerg representing Team Envy. It is Violet. Ooh, a little bit of sleep in his eye. He needs to book up his ideas if he's got hopes of advancing here, because let's be honest, the past couple of groups that he's had in WCS in Season 1 and Season 2 have definitely not gone Violet's way. He has not lived up to some of people's expectations out of there, and Season 3 would be a great opportunity for him to rise up once again and try and prove himself.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at Violet's career, we talked about it a little bit before, but he was so fantastic in 2012. 2012, but in 2013 he had a lot of issues. Of course, that was when WCS began its current, or similar to current format. But he had visa issues. He had to forfeit multiple times from the most important league he was playing in. He was just plagued by all these troubles, not being able to compete while he was in his prime, and it was a really hard moment for him. But he did come back last year, 2014, and he made some really good moves. He made several top 8s, made it to a top 8 in WCS America. But this year, not being able to do the same, not being able to make it past the round of 32 once in WCS, and not really traveling to many other tournaments, not being able to qualify for any IEMs or anything like that.
I mean, the groups in the current WCS system are extremely competitive now. We're seeing a lot of competitive groups. I mean, if you look at this group as a whole and think about where TLO and Mana have been in WCS when they were back in Europe, when it was the Europe iteration, Shigua as well has been in Premier, I think 5 or 6 times almost now. The only time Shigua hasn't been in Premier was actually last season for the most part.
Yeah, I think Tudming knocked him out, I believe.
Yeah. And even then he was still close. It was 3-2. So a very, very competitive atmosphere that we have here in WCS at the moment.
It really is a veteran group today, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of players with a lot of experience. Of course, here on Dash and Terminal, we are seeing, once again, a very similar layout of builds. Violet has opened up with the gasless opening. TLO opening up with the gas. Both players opening up with the hatchery first. So both players not playing overly safe here. They both feel very comfortable against the threat of any aggression, or perhaps they're just ruling out that option. But Violet seems very set on playing a sort of gasless style in the initial stage, but we see now the gas going down. And this is sort of what we often refer to as like a snoot build. It's not usually for Zergling speed. Normally this is for a fast lair, Roach Warren Evolution Chamber, and it's a very efficient way to go into that setup. But because of the way the Overlords are positioned, I believe TLO's already spotted that gas timing, and he has.
All right, well, yep, he got in that Overlord and was able to kind of sniff that out very, very nicely. And on the other side here for TLO with his Zergling speed on the way, and Baneling Nest in the main base, no less. So this Overlord's got some work to do here for Violet. That needs to get in there and get confirmation, but it can be sometimes difficult.
If we look, TLO's being really aware of where those Overlords are, and he's trying to move his Queens down to hedge them back, because he knows if these Overlords spot the Zerglings, that's going to be really powerful. But there's still this Overlord just below TLO's ramp, and it has vision of about half of that. TLO is starting Zergling production. Looks like he wants to do a big attack here, and if Violet's Overlord sees those Zlings, then that could be massive, but it looks like they're just skimming the vision. I'm not sure if Violet's noticing that.
Squeaking by. He's got drones in production. Spine crawlers going down. More and more Lings are in production. He's moving it towards the ramp now, so you will be able to see a few more of these Lings as they rally between this location. And now he sees a big, big swell here. So it's got to be defense time.
He's getting down a wall this time. That's what he didn't have last game. He's going to have a nice thick wall, a Queen plugging the gap, and he does have a creep tumor on the back door, so he is dropping an evolution chamber there as well.
Exactly. Making sure that this is on lockdown as well is so important on a map like this. We've spoken about it before. Very, very different map compared to most. He's already going to work on this Roach Warren, though. He needs to continue to make that wall, and he does have another building behind it.
Nice cancel from Violet to save the money, but without a Roach Warren, keep in mind he can't build any effective units. Queens, Spines are the only thing that are going to be effective. Slow Zerglings do nothing, and TLO is going all in. It is non-stop Ling Bane production, and he is saying, you know what, yeah, you can hold me off for a while, but if you don't have Roaches on the way, then you've got no follow-up. If I can bust through at any point, then I will destroy you.
He's looking to bring down that Queen, and then once that's down, the Banelings can flood in and do big, big AoE damage to all of this location, allowing the Lings to flood on forwards. There's really not much here for Violet at all. He's got a few Lings trickling out here, but already the drones have to be pulled off the line here to deal with this, and all of those drones get absolutely destroyed by that one Baneling with the Lings flooding through. That is a lot of damage.
Wow, you know, Violet just not preparing for the follow-up all in. He was good for the first wave, but TLO said, I am going to commit hard, and I know you're not going to be able to hold on. He's pushing in here. Baneling's in the fray. There's just no answer to the Baneling. Explodes, takes out a lot of Zerglings. Oh, this is devastating.
Even Zerglings on the natural. There you go. GG. TLO takes the first series of the day in a quick 2-0. And he is happy with that one. He's looking confident at the moment.
Wow, that almost looked like, it's 10 Zerg versus Zerg with how long that went. You know, it's just like someone makes a decisive call, the other player just underdefends it slightly, and that's got to be a confidence booster for TLO. Trusting his instincts there and knowing that, you know what, after how he reacted game one, I think I can take him out with that aggressive play once more. And he pushed through very confidently.
Yeah, he did. Very, very good start there for TLO. Obviously, with how he stands in the WCS right now, with his 1,500 points and with his back-to-back top 8s, he is always looking very far past the round of 32 at the moment.
Yeah.
And that for him as a start is really good. But for now, we can head over to the analysis desk with Sean and the lads.
Thank you very much, Kalaris. Joined here by TLO and, of course, Sam. A fantastic start there. I mean, couldn't have really wished for it to go on any better there. Very fast 2-0 and a great start for you.
Yeah.
I mean, did you think it'd be a little bit harder than that?
Well, obviously it went much faster than I thought it would go. Both games basically were over after a few minutes, so I figured it would go longer, but I saw opportunities and then I just went for it.
I mean, how did you? What were your thoughts coming into this group? I mean, as a whole, more so. Are you looking at this as an easy top 2 or a should top 2?
Well, I wasn't unhappy about the group, let's put it that way. I mean, it's never for sure, but just on paper, it's a good group for me. 2 Zerg players, Mana, I would say by far the biggest threat, because my CVC is the strongest. So not being in a team with a teammate in a group is never nice, but when 2 people can come out, it's okay.
How was your form recently? Because I know you've been traveling a lot. It's like France and Spain and over to... Did you go to America recently, maybe?
No, but to Finland and the Netherlands. Yeah.
So how is your condition right now?
Well, I think it could be better. I'm not too happy with my play myself, but I've come to the point where sometimes it doesn't matter how my form in training is, but at tournaments I perform above my form at home. So I'm not too worried about that anymore. As soon as I'm at the table at a tournament, I just try to play and forget about, having lost to people on ladder that I really think I shouldn't and stuff like that.
You got some questions for the Wunderwunsch?
Yeah, I've got a little one. In map number 2 there, you committed quite a lot to your aggression, and initially he was able to kind of defend it for, I guess, enough time to get out maybe some units for himself, but he didn't choose to do that at all. He just droned and droned and droned. Was that a surprise to you, or did you feel like you had to keep going there, or talk me through that? Because it looked a bit scary at some point for me, but obviously I'm not in your position. I didn't have your thought process.
Game 2?
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, even if he could have made more spines, but you don't really want to make links because they are so ineffective when you have bane links. So I understand his mindset. I've been in many times myself. Like, I rather keep making drones, because then if I lose a lot of drones, I'm still ahead and okay to go into the roach transition. But I feel like on Dash and Terminal, you need to invest so much into the wall in because of that backdoor you have. And I think the main mistake was having the roach warren in the wall. Because if you can snipe the Roach Warren, which gains hit points much slower than an Evo chamber, so you don't need to sacrifice as many links, the Ling Baneling player is in a really good spot, because all the units the other player can make are very ineffective. It's links and mostly spines, and your Banelings are in a great spot to deal with that. But I guess he could have been a little bit more defensive and not thrown as hard. But the problem is he never knows. He didn't have vision on my maneuver patches, and if I just throw really hard behind it and get a fast third, it's not that great for the Roach player either.
So would you say you was kind of relieved to see his Roach Warren in the initial wall-off?
Yeah, when you see that, it's great. Especially, it was still pretty low hit points, so just click on it. It's one of the most important things in those scenarios. Click on the building, see what is a Roach Warren, kill the Roach Warren, relax a little bit, get Banelings out, and then bust later.
Yeah. Advice from the doctor himself. I have to ask you before we head out of this, how was the train ride over, mate?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I know
love
you like
Deutsche Bahn.
Did you have your Wi-Fi on the train, look at some replays and study your opponent on the way, or did you read a book? How was it?
No, I was just listening to an audio podcast about history.
So what was it?
Oh, basically Swarm Host was Swarm Host, World War I, trench warfare.
Yeah, prepare you mentally for the games today. When did you arrive? Last night?
Yeah, last night. Just arrived at like 9 p.m. in Cologne and then just took it easy.
All right, well, best of luck in your next game as you fight for a position at the season finals once again. Everybody, Dario, TLO, who goes through to the winners match, and now it's time to head to a very quick break, but when we come back, his teammate heads to the stage. It's Mana versus Shigwa.